You're listening to Voice of the People USA Radio Network, heard in 98 countries with over 64 million listeners a month. We stream live 24/7 on our website, www.vopusaradio.com. You can also download our app for free on Android and Apple so you can listen live anytime and never miss a show. Be sure to subscribe to us on our Rumble and YouTube channels at VOP USA Radio and follow us on Instagram and Twitter at VOP USA Radio. We want to thank you for being part of the free speech revolution. Next up is an exclusive interview with Dan Smriglio and an incredible guest from the Believers Summit in West Palm Beach, Florida.
My name is Savannah Craven. I represent Blexit, which is now a part of Turning Point USA. I'm a Freedom Ambassador for them. I also work full-time with Students for Life of America, helping to abolish abortion across the country, well, across the Northeast specifically from my region, to make sure that pregnant and parenting students feel that they are supported and can have their baby and their dreams. And you can contact me at savannahausteen@gmail.com. That is SAVANNAHAUSTEEN@gmail.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Wonderful.
So obviously we are blessed to be joined today on Voice of the People by you. And obviously, you know, Savannah, I'm so grateful that you came on, because I want to know, before we get into my little conversational questions, I'm just curious, what brought you into this fight, into this movement for not just Blexit, but your personal fight? Like, what was it that really pushed you into this?
Yes. So I actually was at a very liberal musical theater college in New York City. I literally flew to New York City and moved there 2 weeks after graduating high school because I had a dream of being on Broadway and being in the arts. I've been a singer and a dancer most of my life, and it was just my passion. And when I got there, I realized how much the left and really just, I would say, these demonic forces have taken over the performance worlds. And I saw Bible-believing Christian women come into this program and completely switch around all of their beliefs just so that they could fit in. Because, I mean, you can hear tons of different stories of people that were on Broadway, people that were in film, coming out as a conservative, or even just saying that they're a Christian and getting completely canceled. People saying that they're racist, putting all these names on them. And so as time went on, it became harder and harder knowing that I was hiding who I really was. And finally, when COVID hit, I was like, you know what? New York is shut down. I still want to act and sing and perform. And I'm not going to let this virus and all these people trying to divide unvaccinated versus vaccinated, left versus right, black versus white. Like, I'm going to go do my own thing. And so I decided not to go back to college. One, because of the mandates. That was a huge thing. But also, I just didn't want to pretend to be somebody I wasn't anymore. I wanted to be looked at for what's your talent? How can you better our performing arts company? What can you do? Can you do this role right? Because that's really what acting is about. I mean, you're pretending to be somebody else. Yeah. That's the whole thing. Yeah. I shouldn't have to also pretend to be somebody else in my real life.
In the real world, yeah.
You know? And so I found a very conservative theater company called Brian Cloudis Productions, and I did a couple of productions with them, and they weren't just conservative, but they were open to anyone. It was really just about, like, do you have a love of theater? Are you willing to come here and accept everybody? There were liberals in our group. There was, I mean, anybody, gay people, straight people, like, It was very diverse. That's how it should be. And that's how what I was used to growing up in the theater world. And also at the time, you know, in 2020, the Black Lives Matter riots were going on and everything. And I decided to look a little bit more into Black Lives Matter, because I'm like, why do we need an organization telling people like me that our lives matter? Why do I need like a group of people telling me that? Yeah. I mean, that should be obvious, right? And I also was really concerned about, well, you know, they say Black Lives Matter. They should be pro-life, because I mean, the number one killer of Black people is abortion. Yeah. So let's look more into this. And I found out that the co-founder of Black Lives Matter is best friends with one of the former Planned Parenthood presidents. I'm like, that's a little interesting.
Yeah. And then the Soros funding. Yeah.
That's a little hypocritical.
Yeah.
Like a whole organization, if you want to call it that, founded on wanting to obliterate the Black race. I was shocked by that. And so I started speaking out online. This is where I started to get a lot of backlash from people that I went to school with, calling me things like whitewash, that I was dancing for the white man, all these things. And I'm just like, maybe I just have a different opinion than you. Maybe it's not that I'm trying to be something else or please someone else. Maybe I'm just speaking what I believe is the truth and what I believe is right. And going through this, and after being in, my acting phase for a year after college, I was like, God is really calling me to speak about pro-life issues. I need to now really show the world what is really happening to little boys and girls that look like me. And the fact that they're just literally going away from this earth because in the name of choice. They're just being slaughtered so easily. And not only that, but the women and the men and the families that are hurt by this act in the name of choice. And so as I began to speak out on my TikTok and my Instagram, that's when I really started to gain a following. And I was interviewed on many different leftist sort of media companies and had very different perspectives than some of these other brown and Black people. And people really caught on to it. And they were like, wow. And after Roe v. Wade overturned, that was a huge moment for me as well. And that was the year that I was like, I need to make this my career. And that's when I started working with Students for Life.
That's awesome. That's such a cool story. And I love that because, not that this is about me, but my wife, who's actually right there filming,
yes.
She's somebody I met just recently. She's traveled the world, fronted bands, she from Hollywood, that whole world. She left it because she wouldn't sell her soul. Mm-hmm. And she saw the evil and got away. So when you speak to that, if something hits me personally, now I never did that aspect. I was a musician, then I stopped, and my thing was get involved in activism and hold rallies and things like that. And I've seen the hate. I've seen what it is because I've always been, when I held my events in 2007 and 2010, before there was a Tea Party, the regular media, the New York Times, the national media, everything, they attacked hardcore because we brought people together that were Christian, atheist, Black, white. There's a white supremacist there. I said, first off, the white supremacists threaten me just as much as MS-13 threatens me, just as much as anybody else threatens me. So I'm like, if they are, who cares? But then they're talking to a Black Panther, right? So what happened was bringing people together on issues versus what constantly divides. After that happens, they go on a full-fledged campaign against you to destroy you and discredit you. And I'm like, well, have fun. I'm a nobody, so thanks for the free attention. I'm literally a nobody. We're going to ruin your political ambitions. What political ambitions? I'm a nobody, right? Yeah. So it's funny how these things happen. And then all these years later, when the Tea Party hit, they literally reached out to me and said, can you help us organize? We did 30 rallies in 30 capitals. I said, sure. Then 6 months later, I see them, release their whole thing. And I'm like, oh, cool. I said, so congrats, He's like, yeah, thanks for the help. I said, we're going to work together. He's like, you're not welcome in our movement. And I said, of course not. Wow. You have $30 billion magically out of nowhere. Because so many organizations like BLM, like even on the right, there's a lot of organizations. I do say names. I'm a little controversial. Convention of States and others and Heritage and so many. People don't realize that they're funded by a lot of Soros money, a lot of money from a lot of organizations around the world, that the ones that point the finger and call you Nazi are literally funded by a Nazi.
Yeah, exactly.
But people don't know. They don't realize. So, and they co-opt both sides of it. And that pushes people away. I left and kept doing the radio stuff and kind of built up to, we built our own independent network. And now getting back involved in hardcore and seeing people like yourself, it's like I'm like the old man in the room now, 41. I'm like the old guy, right? But it's so cool when there's people like you that I wish you were around. You were around, but in 2007, it's like, where were you? Around, right? You were probably like 2. I don't know, but like, it's so nice to see so many people, and that's why the turning point is cool too, because what Charlie's done is bringing together. I mean, he's only 30. What? I think he's 30, 31.
31 or so.
My God, I'm an old man. But it's true. Like, what the hell happened to me? But anyway, but it's refreshing and it's like reinvigorating to see people like yourself like actually speaking out and standing up, and that's the thing, not just speaking out, but taking a stand and actually making it your mission, your life mission. I think that's so cool. So something people think I'm crazy, you know, Malcolm X and Dr. King are two people that I grew up. It was those two, Thomas Jefferson. I did a book report in the 6th grade with Donald Trump, Art of the Deal.
Oh,
so
wow.
I'm not just like a new Trump supporter.
Yeah.
I'm from the area. So
Exactly.
they hated it when I did
You
that.
have it in you a little bit.
Thank you. Thank you. I take that as a compliment. Old New York, not new.
Yeah.
Anyway, but people like that are heroes to me because Malcolm X, what did he warn against? You know, first off, Malcolm X welcomed. He didn't push people away like they said. They said he's militant, he's this, he's that. No, he wasn't. And maybe in the beginning there was a little bit of a different way of doing things, but regardless, he said the most dangerous person in the world is the white liberal. Be forewarned, right?
Yep.
Dr. King. I like people after the fact when they say, well, what he meant to say. When judged by the content of their character, not the color of their skin. Oh, what he meant to say was, oh, so now revisionist. Right. So like the Constitution. Oh, what they meant to say was the projection of their own evils onto others is so sad. And the fact that the party that, and I hate saying this, because like you said, it's so much bigger than sides and parties and everything else. That's how they cause division. That's how they keep you separated, when they push people away and they pit us against each other. Because if we find a way to actually come together in common sense and let people talk, change might happen. You know?
Yes, this is definitely a spiritual battle. It's not against left versus right. It's not about, well, you don't agree with me and I don't agree with you. This is really like a demonic spiritual battle that our country is fighting right now.
Yes.
I mean, you see when somebody hates someone so much that they try to frame him, they try to
Kill
have all these
him.
lies
Yes.
and then kill you.
Yep.
Literally kill you because they have got this anger and this hatred so deep within them. But I believe that that's also the lack of God in our schools and just in our lives in general. You know, I grew up in school always saying the Pledge of Allegiance with God in it. We talked about God. There were religion classes. I mean, this is at a public school. And now I hear people aren't even saying the pledge.
I know.
There's no respect for our country. And it's not just about, when I think about our country, it's not the people that are in office right now. It's the people that laid down their life so that I could be here right now. So that you and me could sit together in the same area and no one's going to look over and think it's weird.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, exactly.
People that died for that simple right, that I get to walk outside, that I get to buy property, that I get to do anything in life.
Yeah.
And we are so spoiled as Americans today, like my generation, Gen Z, and, you know, hopefully there's a change coming up with this next generation. And I hope that if I'm blessed with children, I can instill some, you know, patriotism and respect for other people. But I never could imagine like looking at somebody who I don't agree with, even if they are just like the most ridiculous person. I think that all of their opinions are just crazy. I can never look at them with like hatred and that I want you to not be here because of the way that you believe.
Yeah.
You know, me being Christian and conservative and pro-life and having all these labels that I put on myself that, you know, I believe in. Somebody the opposite of that. I lived with a very liberal, like atheist roommate, very different, complete opposites. And we became best friends.
Yeah.
And we lived together for a year and a half.
Yeah.
And she got a huge promotion, so she moved on. But it was just beautiful because I was like, wow, in 2024, you know, when we started living together in 2022, we matched, you know, we were just like, I was renting a room, she was renting a room. And the fact that we are literally opposites in every way, and we can go out to lunch and we can connect. And even a couple times we talked about our opinions. And she heard me out and she said, well, you know, although I disagree with how you're going about certain things, I do believe that you are saving lives. And that is what it happens with abortion, is like people know that pro-lifers are truly saving lives when we're going out there counseling women outside the abortion facility, when we're, you know, answering calls in the middle of the night for a woman in crisis, it's in a domestic violence situation or what have you. But they have to make us look so bad.
Oh God, you're the devil.
Yeah.
You're the new Hitler, not me.
Exactly.
I got to break.
So that they can cover up the fact that they're profiting off of women who are in crisis who believe there's no other option because this system told her that if you have this child, your life will be ruined. That not that you're valuable and the way that your child was conceived and the way you got in this situation, it doesn't matter. You're still valuable. But if you go through with this, like, your life is over.
Yes.
What a terrifying thing.
Yes.
Like,
it's disgusting.
Crazy.
It's, you know, and I hate to bring this up because some people say it's too much, but I think after leaked Planned Parenthood videos and things that have been planned for so long and have been leaked for so long, late-term abortion people, they're the most demonic.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's all demonic, personally. Yeah. But the ones that, like, we go back to the famous Governor Northam in Virginia. Well, after the baby is born, we'll keep the baby comfortable, then we'll have a conversation. The harvesting of I don't even want to go into it, but you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
What they do, whether it be for cells or this, it's disgusting what they do. It is a feeding, it's a factory. It's a factory for them. It's a mission for them. It's evil incarnate, is the way I look at it. The assault on innocency, the taking of lives, it is the most vile thing. Now, people ask me all the time, you know, like, Roe v. Wade was great when I was on the air, because kind of like your story, like, I have people that come on my show. Now, I am what I am. I'm a registered Republican. I'm a conservative Trump supporter. Not much like the Republican Party most of the time. Yeah. But I literally have co-hosts that are atheist, socialist, Black Lives Matter, right?
Wow.
She's not realized that she's working for Soros, so it's kind of funny. But regardless, we can have conversations, right? But when what I don't even remember where I was going. I completely lost track. I'll cut that part out. I'm so sorry. What the hell? I have so many things I want to like say, and I'm like,
so much. It's the first day. We're so excited.
I'm usually better than that, but anyway. It was when the Roe v. Wade thing was overturned, right? The thing. First off, nobody even understands Roe v. Wade about, you know, especially before she died and she found God and there's a Roe v. Wade.
She never actually had an abortion.
Exactly.
That was the whole thing.
It was
her child was adopted and loved.
Yes.
But they don't want to talk about that.
No, they don't want to talk about that.
They don't want to mention that part.
God forbid. That would destroy the whole narrative, right?
Exactly.
But when Roe v. Wade, one day, men could have periods. The next day, it's a woman's right to decide. I'm like, well, congrats. You know what your gender is today. At least you know what a woman is today. Good for you.
All of a sudden, the left knows what a woman is. Now that Kamal is in the picture.
Oh, God. Oh, my God. Do you realize, I don't even want to talk about it. I don't want to put anything into the universe.
Yeah, definitely not.
if that individual were to win, we'd be begging Joe Biden to come back.
Really.
That's terrible.
Joe, where are you?
Is it right? So, speaking here later, the man who's a threat to democracy, well, the Democrats just said your 14 million votes don't matter. Yeah. You're going to vote for this cackling moron who never was elected, nothing, you know. No. She's your new chosen, you know, de facto second, whatever. My God, the joke of it all. But I wanted to ask you, because people bring it up to me all the time, like, well, who are you as a man to tell mansplain? First off, you're significantly younger than I. So I got to ask. When I was in school, language arts was a thing. But it wasn't I like to write, so I kind of knew what I was doing. But when the hell did pronouns and all that become so important? Does everybody love language arts? Does everybody love grammar? Because everybody's a specialist now. They all know. So when did that become like a big push for this whole he, she, z?
Yeah. So we made all of that up during quarantine when we were bored in our house and we didn't know what to do. And we wanted to find, well, not we, I'm just saying them.
Are those your pronouns? We, them? We'll change it.
No,
you know,
I'm just a female. Whenever like these leftist people ask me that for interviews and stuff or on forums, I'm just like, I'm a girl. Like, take a guess. What do you think? Like,
right?
Just throw it out there. You know,
that's.
But we made it up. We all made it up. We were bored in our house and we were just on our phones all day. And we're like, how can we have a new struggle? How can we find another way to get what we want without actually working?
Yes.
You know, how can I get ahead of somebody else without actually trying just as hard, if not harder than them?
Yes.
And people buy into it. It's crazy. We bought into so many things. But the craziest thing is it's not even, you know, I like to joke about it. It's funny, like the he, she, they, Caesar, whatever. But this is a serious issue. Like there are young children who genuinely believe that they are a different gender than they are. There are parents out there that are saying they want to raise their children gender neutral, and they want to give them a gender neutral name so that they can decide when they get older. First of all, you can't drive until you're 15, 16 years old. You can't even get a permit or a license. You cannot vote until you're 18. You can't have a beer until you're 21. You have to be 18 to go into the military. But yet, if you're 5 years old, you can decide to change your gender, something that can never be undone.
That's right.
It's insane.
It is. As far as I'm concerned, the parents are just as guilty.
Oh yeah.
That allow it, that encourage it, that empower it. Some I know it's being done to their kids at school because the kids don't have, California wants to change the age of consent to 14. I don't know if they've done it already.
Work.
Amen. I mean, it's just the most disgusting thing because they're purposely. We were having a conversation earlier, not us obviously, but other people we were talking to. Because I was in the military for 4 years, right? And somebody was talking about veteran suicide. And something that I think is comical is the push for mental health is health and all this other stuff to try to prevent suicide. In reality, they want suicide. They want suicides almost as much as they want abortions because it's population control reduction.
The less people there are to manipulate, the easier.
Yes.
And that's why they don't know that they hate that all of these. I saw like a little bit of the ballerina farm controversy.
Yeah.
A woman who is deep in her femininity, who is living a life of sacrifice, which any way you live your life, you're going to have to sacrifice something. That's just how life is.
Yes.
But someone that is dedicated to caring for her, I think she's 8 children, and living in that, being grateful for it, even when it's hard. I mean, you can imagine she's probably very tired. Her life is probably very hard, like cooking for 10 people 3 times a day and then snacks. Like, you know how kids are, they're very needy, and she's teaching them at home. It's a lot, but life is about finding the beauty and the happiness in those areas of struggle.
Yeah.
You have to wake up every day and you have to decide, am I going to list out all my problems that I have going on, or am I going to live in those problems but also focus on what do I have?
Yes.
Do I have 2 legs? Can I breathe properly? Can I go walk outside? Maybe you don't have 2 legs. You got to find something else to be grateful for.
Yep.
There is always something to be grateful for, but we don't have gratitude. And when you don't have gratitude in life, you are always going to be comparing yourself to other people. And if you live by other people's approval, you will die from the rejection.
Yes.
And that's just the truth.
Yes.
You've got to wake up, even when you are in like the depths of it, when you are like, God, I don't know what else to do at this point. Like, I feel like this is it. I can't go on. I think we've all had moments like that throughout our lives where we're like, I don't know if I can, like, nothing can fix this. And that's why it is so important to have a relationship with God, because at the end of the day, if everybody else on the earth fails me, I have faith that there is somebody else who made me perfectly in his image, who loves me through every point and is going to be there for me and protect me.
Yes.
And that even if this all does end, which this will all end one day, people act like life is forever and you can just do whatever you want, but this will all end one day for everyone. We saw how close President Trump came to that.
Divine intervention.
End of his life.
Yep.
You know, we saw how that is how quickly life can go. I've lost, quite a few people in my life where it was like one day I was talking to them, the next day they're gone, and it's like very hard for us to like comprehend that. Mm-hmm. But we have to realize how short life is, how sacred it is, how no matter how useless or worthless you feel, how awful this world makes you feel, like you are only you, like only you exist on this world. There's only one version of you. Yeah. And you are unrepeatable, you are distinct, and you are made for this time. Yeah. And this time only.
Yes.
And all of us that are fighting this battle nowadays with this gender stuff and the attack on our children, it's like, oh my gosh, sometimes I think like, why couldn't I have, been born a couple hundred years ago?
I know.
What was going on a couple hundred years ago?
That's what I say too. Like, damn, I was born in '83. I mean, but still, like, I
was mostly kind of normal. For a while there.
Ish, right? Like, well, you lived during Reagan. I'm like, I was like, ages 0 through 6 or whatever. It doesn't count really, whatever. But it's weird because, like you said, there's so much truth to it. We were put here for a reason, and this is a fight, And I see a lot of people, and I get it all the time. People say, "Well, I don't have to worry because Jesus is coming back." I said, "Well," and I believe that. I said, but unless he RSVP'd with you, like, you got something to do. God helps those who helps themselves. While people around you getting attacked, dying, this and that, you have something. I'm not saying resort to violence, because God knows if we did resort to violence, we would do it right. But we preach peace, actual acceptance, actual love. I don't care if somebody's gay, straight. I don't care. I don't judge them as long as they don't judge. You know, Why should we? I accept you for who and what you are. Do I think you could be, maybe you should make your own?
Well, we can judge righteously. That's the thing, is what the Bible says is we need to judge righteously. And if you see your brother or sister, falling short and it is your responsibility as a Christian who has been open to the truth.
Yes.
We have our eyes open to go about it how Jesus would. Like, Jesus sat with the sinners. He didn't just sit back and say, oh yeah, well, so-and-so is going through that and it's just really rough. And I just don't agree with it. It's like, you need to stand up and do something.
Yes.
And it can be hard. It can be daunting to go up to a friend that you really care about and you're like, well, they're gay and I want them to be happy. Like I've struggled with that sometimes. Like, being in the theater world, I have many gay friends. It's like, well, I want them to be happy.
Yeah.
But I know that what they're doing isn't right.
Yeah.
And what they're struggling with. And there's something that I found is that there's always a reason for why they are attracted to what they're attracted to. There's something, in their childhood,
something traumatic.
There's something that just they went through or something was lacking.
Yeah.
And thank God I've had a couple of friends that have been able to fight out of that battle with themselves and got help. And it was through God. It was through God.
That's awesome. See, that's why you're such a powerful person. That's so cool because you live what you speak, and I think that's so impressive. And I love that. I just love the passion, but the conviction, and you don't just talk about it and then just disappear. You're actually doing it. I love that.
Thank you.
I can't believe we talked this long. I mean,
yeah.
I feel
supposed to be 10 minutes.
I know, but you're cool. And I don't
thank you.
I love it. I don't want to, I'm sure you have other things to do. I could talk to you for freaking hours.
Yes,
I'm terrible.
we should do it again.
Yes,
Please.
I mean, maybe sometime if you're free, I would love to invite you on the show for a walk. We could do it, the virtual, all that happy
fantastic.
stuff.
I'd love that.
We'll do an hour or two, whatever you want. I would love that.
Let's do it.
Awesome.
I could talk all day.
Then me too. I don't shut up, and I'm not about talking because I want to hear you talk, and then I don't. Anyway, but with that, I just want to say before I stop this recording and let you go do everything else you need to do, thank you for what you do, and thank you for being such an important and valuable person in this movement for God and light and life. I think it's awesome.
Thank you so much.
I just think you're such a cool person. It's an honor to meet you and talk with you.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much for having me on.
You've been listening to Voice of the People USA Radio Network. Be sure to subscribe to us on our Rumble channel at VOP USA Radio, as well as on our YouTube channel and on Instagram and Twitter at VOP USA Radio. We stream live 24/7 on our website, www.vopusaradio.com. We want to thank you for being part of the free speech revolution.